Welcome once again to Paranormal Into the Night, where we are going live on Facebook and we are live on YouTube at the same time. So there you go, Paranormal Into the Night. We do this every Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S. And yeah, there you go. What can I say? Paranormal Into the Night Facebook group is where you'll find everything. Also the Facebook page. So just type in Paranormal Into the Night and you will find the page and the group. And that's where you'll find everything. So there you go. I'm Dino Ewell. I'm your host and we got an awesome guest tonight. Can't wait to start talking to him. This is going to be some deep conversation, I do believe. So follow along, people. It's going to be interesting. That's for sure. You can also hear us, shout outs to Paranormal UK Radio Network, Mark and Irene. You can go to www.paranormalukradio.com. Okay. Hey, I'm, a little jittery tonight. Don't ask me why. I spent the whole day at the beach today. Probably why. Lots of sun. It was fun. That's for sure. A lot of weird things poking out of the water and stuff where I am. No, anyways. Ancientagenda.com. We have J.D. Jeffrey is going to be our guest tonight. And we will be talking about the pyramids, Codex 13, a lot of things I actually haven't heard before. So it's going to be an interesting conversation for sure. So boy, did I get everything out. I was a little discombobbled this time at the start of the show. But I do want to thank Mark and Irene over there. I'd like to shout out Ancient Aliens Worldwide, the Facebook group, good friend Leo over there, even J.D. Jeffrey, his Facebook group, Ancient Agenda Facebook group. So check it out. We'll talk to him in a second about that. But here I go. After all of that, which I've been doing this 2 years now, and I kind of just globbed all over that one. But anyways, J.D. Jeffrey, how are you doing? Unmute, bud. How you doing?
How are you tonight, Tino?
I'm doing good. I tripped up a little there at the start of the show. I guess we all do that every now and then, huh?
It happens, yes.
Yeah,
thank you for inviting me on your show. It's an honor.
No problem. I appreciate you coming on and talking to me. This is a topic that I am very interested in for sure. So to get your take on it is going to be very interesting, to say the least. And where to begin is one thing. But anyways, yeah, your Facebook group is Ancient Agenda. And your website is www.ancientagenda.com, right?
Correct. We also have a YouTube channel under the same name.
Ancient Agenda. There you go. Type that in your browser, Ancient Agenda, and it'll all pop up. How you like that? Can it get any easier? There you go. Anyways, boy, we are going to dive right into this. And anybody on Facebook right now who's listening to us live, come on over and pop over to the YouTube channel in the chat. We tend to get more people over on the Facebook live listening in. And you could also grab us in the iTunes store. Just search Paranormal Into the Night there too. And you'll get our show, subscribe, the Google Play Store, all of that good stuff. And you won't miss a show. So there you go. I will try to look at the questions on Facebook. It might not be that easy because I am, doing 3-4 different things at one time. But anyways, we will start right off with J.D. Jeffrey, and let's talk about Codex 13. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Where would you like to start?
Well, let's see. Codex 13, you can describe it a little bit more than me, but I believe it's all about the... well, let's start out with the Giza Pyramid. Isn't that where this all starts?
It all starts and ends there, yes. It's
Okay.
the Pyramid of Giza.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Where how did you get into this? Let's just go to the very beginning then first. How did you begin this journey, and how did it get you to where you're at right now?
Okay, I'm 55 years old. I have a brother who's 8 years older than me, and at the age of 8, he introduced me to the Great Pyramid. So he would have been 16 at the time.
Okay.
So I was introduced at the age of 8, and I found certain things about it, type of history, interesting. But I was more interested in the lunar landings and rocketry and aeronautics. So I kind of didn't really pay too much attention to the history point of the pyramid. I was more interested in the aeronautics and, of course, UFOs and aliens. And when I was 16, I met a friend. He was 8 years older than me, also. Strange how that is. And he was very schooled in ancient monuments, ancient cultures, that type of knowledge. And so we discussed the different history across the planet and certain monuments. And he knew monuments at that time that are just coming into the light of conversation in the last few years that we spoke about then. That's when I was introduced to the Atacama Giant in the Nazca Lines. He had posters on his wall of these monuments. Many times we discussed them. So I learned a lot of knowledge from him on that.
Okay. So that's kind of just what got you into that, just...
Yeah, that brought me up about to the age of 20, 21.
Okay.
So after that, it was pretty much just me learning from what I could read. At that time, of course, there was no internet.
Really? Yeah, exactly.
So you were either reading what you could purchase or find in the library, or a document that came on television at that time.
Yeah, I remember looking at the Time Life books when I was younger, and that kind of is what introduced me to a lot of this stuff. So,
well, my older brother was quite handy, and I think what helped me quite a bit is he actually created a model. It was only paper mache, but it was a model of the Great Pyramid.
mm-hmm.
But it was perfect. At that time, I knew there were 8 sides, everything, because the model that he had created.
Cool, interesting. You know what? Let's start getting into this a little bit, because when you say, I know your website and everything, ancientagenda.com. I mean, it's you're claiming a lot here with what you've kind of found out and everything about the ancient civilizations and stuff like that. And I mean, right off the bat, let me just read the first paragraph on your website, on your homepage. Okay, it pretty much, and this is about Codex 13. Which technically is a manuscript. A codex is a manuscript. So I'll ask you first how you got to Codex 13, but let me read this real quick to everybody. Throughout history, many have spoken of a lost codex to a prior advanced civilization. Scripture defines it as a scroll of accountability for when mankind reaches an age of true awareness, which hopefully comes eventually. Some refer to this as a book of prior wisdom, while others describe it as the Holy Grail. So just that there, tell me a little bit about that, because I'd like to know how you got to even realizing there's a Codex 13. What is it? Is it a book? Is it something that's so intricate and you've pulled from so many other different sources, like the pyramids, the different monuments and stuff like that? What is Codex 13?
Codex 13 is actually what you stated. It's a let's see, a list is what you stated. Was that
a list of things, different types? Right. Okay.
And that's what Codex 13 correctly is. It is a list of monuments that are connected together and also within Scripture. Now, I was born Roman Catholic.
Okay.
So I grew up in a Roman Catholic household. I went to Roman Catholic school. We were taught religion every day as curriculum. We went to church twice during the week and then once on Sunday. So I learned scripture. And I always had a fascination with certain stories within it. And many questions I asked that weren't answered. And as I got older,
Mm-hmm.
when I learned about the Dead Sea Scrolls, when they were found, and they were brought about the knowledge of that, and I read what I could find on them, and also the Shroud of Turin, those type of things, they were interesting to me. Obviously paranormal, same as what you showed us.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Right.
read about those things, and I realized what I had read in the Bible, I guess you would say the King James Version, there
Mm-hmm.
were certain things missing. They didn't make sense. And I thought, well, it's, my friend that I had who was younger, who was taught me about the monuments and all this, he was New Age Mennonite. So we talked a lot about scripture, and his Bible was kind of different than the one I had read from when I was a kid. And I started to question that. I thought, well, there's answers missing in the Bible I'm reading, so maybe I should read these other Bibles. And I did. So I could find different answers that were in those Bibles that were missing in the King James Version, which I did find some. And through reading this, I could see a code in there that at first I didn't think it was real. I'll be honest. At first I didn't think it was real. It was just too obvious. And I thought, how has this been missed?
Mm-hmm.
And this code was also showing up on the monuments. Now, interestingly, when you read the Bible, it does talk about certain monuments, and it makes it very clear about the Great Pyramid.
Okay. Well, what was the very
So,
first thing that you saw when you were reading all these Bibles and stuff like that, and the first code you ever got, and you said, "Wow, I have to
well,
start digging deeper into this."
the first code I ever got, okay, I thought, as I stated when I was young, I was really interested in different stories. There are great stories in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me very curious about some of them because they were missing answers. Now, when you read scripture, every character in scripture is explained. They have names. There's a story to them.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the book of Revelation, there's a most interesting story about God's two witnesses. So that's really what it came down to for me. I wanted to discover who God's two witnesses were. And so I read the different scriptures to try to find out. And at the same time, I'm studying ancient cultures and pyramids, and also studying cosmology, and astronomy is just a love of mine, a passion. So
Mm-hmm.
I study that as well. And of course, when I was a child, I wanted to watching lunar landings and everything. I wanted to be an astronaut, so I studied all that kind of stuff too. So it gave me better understanding in some of the answers that were being put out by other people, and by reading the scriptures of the different denominations, I could see there was a pattern, and this pattern started to evolve around the monuments. So I started to understand more what was going on. And the deeper I looked into it, the more came out. And as I say, I'm documenting this by the professionals that have done this for the past 150 years.
Mm-hmm.
This. When I say professionals, I mean professionals that are accepted by academics or religious doctrinations.
Right.
I haven't made anything up. I've taken their knowledge, our academics that is accepted by us,
Mm-hmm.
and I've cataloged what's there. It just seems I could not understand how this was missed.
Well,
which
again,
which made me think
yeah.
even more.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it missed when it's so?
Well, I
easily
mean,
seen.
yeah. Well, it's either hidden or dismissed or stuff like that. I mean, for sure.
Now, for the listeners, I should have to explain this really quick.
Go ahead.
The monuments in Scripture have a hidden code of 13 in a numerical number. So when I question why is this not being seen, then I come to the conclusion that we've been made through superstition to look away from the number 13, to think of it as a bad number. So no one looks at the number 13. It's a superstitious number. So of course, with a code like this right in front of you, you're not going to see it. Especially if you are superstitious.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. But is that technically why you definitely are calling it Codex 13?
Well, Codex 13, I'm calling it Codex 13 because it's 13, and then also it's a codex. It's been left in the past as a coded message, which is what a codex is.
Okay, so it's a specific one that you've uncovered, that you're trying to get out there, the information. Codex 13.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm showing it to the public for their understanding and questioning. If you want to call it peer reviewing through the internet, then that's exactly what it is. Peer reviewing.
Okay.
And as I say, this is documented information by the historical academics, so it can be cross-referenced so easily. I post a lot of links so that you can go check them yourself, and I do state for everybody listening, always check all the information that you're being presented with. It doesn't matter whose information it is. Always check it. Cross-references somehow so that you can confirm what you're reading.
Oh, for sure. You can't accept anything anybody says 100%. You got to definitely go and research and back it up for sure. But again, what was the first code you ever uncovered that you said, okay, I got to start digging into this again? Because you did mention about looking through the Bibles and you saw this and you saw that. What one code actually hit you and said, whoa, I got to research this a little bit more?
The monument Chichen Itza in the peninsula of Yucatan, of Mexico.
Okay.
Specifically El Castillo, Kukulkan.
Okay, go into a little detail on exactly what you found at those sites.
Well, going back to my friend, when I was younger, who introduced me to a lot of these monuments, he introduced me to El Castillo, and at that time it was known about the Shadow Serpent. So that was quite an amazing thing for a monument to do, and really interesting. Then later it became known that if you counted the 4 stairways, you would get 91 stairs per stairway, times 4 would give you 364, with the top temple of 365, which gives you a solar year. When I realized that factor in knowing history and cultures, that takes quite a bit of astronomical and mathematical precision to create a monument like that. So I researched more into the monument itself, studied it off as much as I could, studied Mayan math and Mayan astronomy, or cosmology if you want a better terminology for it. These things brought me more understanding into the history of the monuments. So it was easier to read them.
Okay. And why
El Castillo is laid out just like Mayan math. However, they're in a geometric pattern. So instead of having circles above lines, you've got rectangles with squares above them. It's the same thing. It's just a geometric difference when you understand geometry. A circle is a square, and you define a circle by making a square.
And how do
So I
you?
understood that with the
Yeah.
monument. So then once I realized that, I counted the squares per side, which gave us 52 per side. Coincidentally, there's 52 weeks to a year, and the monument is giving you 365 days to a year.
Really? Okay. Huh.
So it was a questionable number to look at. But then the more I looked at the monument, the solar year became evident. When you look at the top temple, the number of windows and doorways show us there's 3 to each side of a 4-sided building, and it's giving us our solar months, 3 months per year. That's why they're on each side per month. So it started to explain itself in geometry. And then I looked into the mathematics. Only because I found Karl Monk's research.
Okay.
And I started to understand that the mathematics is a language on its own. And if you wanted to send a message into the future, because language continually changes and it has no uniformity to it, but math, geometry, and astronomy never changes, it just progresses. It's a language on its own. So if you wanted to send a message ahead in time to a culture with a different language, or if you wanted to send it, say, to aliens in a different solar system, then you would code that as a language in math, geometry, and astronomy. Every advanced civilization needs to know this to advance. Without math, geometry, and astronomy, you're not going to advance very far. So I understood this is a language on its own. And I got that through Karl Monk's research. So then I looked into it deeper with the other monuments as well. And I'm also a documentary addict, if you want to call it that. So I watch a lot of history.
Yeah.
And there would be various different monuments being presented. They would sometimes mention certain measurements. And I was surprised at how often at different monuments the number 13 would come up. And that's when I started to really look into the numbers. And once I started to see what the past historians had cataloged and the numbers that were there in 13s, I started to question, why has this been missed? It's too easy. Why has it been missed? The Great Pyramid sits on 13.1 acres. So it's giving you a footprint of 13. Now, the Great Pyramid, made up of 2.5 million stones, is basically different types of limestone. However, they quarried 130 granite stones to build its interior. So they've given you another 13. Now, the King's Chamber air shaft vents exit at the 103rd row of stone. So they're giving you another 1 and a 3. The subterranean chamber sits below the plateau level by 113 feet. So you're getting another 13. Now, the Great Pyramid's height is 481 feet tall. If you add 4 plus 8 plus 1, you will get 13. So these numbers were here, and those, that's just a small sample. And it also gives you these numbers in metric and cubits. They didn't miss the number, we did.
Okay. Well, why is the number so important?
They've cataloged the number 13 to go with astronomy, is where it correctly associates. Now, the Orion oscillation period is a 26,000 year period. Rounded off, it's 26,000. It's actually 25,922.19035 given by the pyramids themselves. Our astronomers counted at 25,920, but it's rounded up at 26,000. Halfway point of that is 13,000. This is where Orion aligns above the pyramids at 13,000 year interval. He also aligns above many of the other pyramids at the same time.
So Orion kind of fits in here some way?
Oh, definitely. He's the count. He's a countdown. He's a count of the cycle. Everything is a cycle. Astronomy, everything is a cycle.
Right.
Scripture tells you that. Everything is a cycle. Now, I do want to state that what's in the Bible is actually taken from history far back to the reaches of our civilizations, back in the Sumerian periods. It's been updated. Right. Everything's been translated so that it's more suitable for our time of reading. But so therefore, when they do translate it, a lot of it's lost in translation. And also a lot of it's hidden purposefully.
Wow, very interesting. I'm just trying to figure this out. Why? I mean, what is the point of the? I mean, I understand the sacred geometry and the math behind it and the number 13, but what is it really good for in present time? I mean, what is it doing for us as a civilization?
These monuments tell us of our past history, which was an advanced civilization.
Mm-hmm.
And they're giving us a head start. It's what I call the Band-Aid effect. Now, our scientists say that it should have taken mankind 100,000 years to get to the technology we are using today. We've done that in 10,000 years. Now, when you hurt yourself, you put a Band-Aid on, and when you take it off, if you take it off slowly, there's a lot of pain. But if you rip it off really quick, pain's gone. And our past civilizations set it up so that we would go through the Band-Aid effect. We went through a lot of pain all at once to get back to this advanced civilization.
Okay.
That's what these wars we've seen through the past being created for, lost technology. And to suppress the technology.
Well, again, the math part of it, okay, sacred geometry, whatever, all of that. What else do we got other than the math? I mean, how is it helping us? How is it giving us any technology or advanced technology? Like you said, it's brought us very quickly to where we're advanced as we are now. Where is that coming from? I don't.
My belief, Dino, is a lot of the advanced technology's been hidden away in different areas of the planets, in different pyramids.
Right.
And it has been found, but it's been suppressed.
I believe that.
And some of that technology's been back engineered and presented to society, which we use today.
Right, and I 100% agree with you there.
There is, without no doubt, we have free energy. It is being suppressed. If we had free energy, we would be back to a utopian type of society, and we wouldn't need the governments we have today. We wouldn't have war machines because there's enough for everybody to live civilly. And also in perpetual balance with nature, so we're not harming the planet. It's free energy.
Yeah.
As long as we recycle, the energy is free. It's not harmful to the planet. As long as we recycle the things we make, so it doesn't hurt the planet.
Right.
I mean, they've shown us this, especially with, when I say shown, the ancients. They've created, I call them food factories. They've created terraces across the planet and different platforms to show us how to grow multi-levels of food fast and quickly without harming the planet. And not just, when I say food, I'm talking high energy food.
Mm-hmm.
So this takes advancement to know these, to be able to do this. It wasn't done by knuckle dragger Neanderthals.
Right. No, I hear
Which is what
you.
our history books tell us.
Right. But again, and I don't mean to keep harping on it, but you know, we do get the geometry, the numbers from the past civilizations, and how accurate they were with the astronomy and everything else. But what I'm trying to get out of you, I
I know where you're
guess.
going. Let me cut you short and fill you in so we can
Go ahead.
get there, okay?
Go ahead.
This Codex 13, it's a codex because it gives us a cycle count. You see, there was a deluge at one point in time. That's what its name is. So we'll just leave it with the name deluge, and we'll explain it later in the show. However, this is a cycle, and it will happen again. And the monuments calculate this. However, the codex leads us to what is titled the Fabled Hall of Records. Now, in there will be, according to history and mythology, in the Hall of Records is the records from before our time began, which was an advanced civilization. In the technology there will bring us back into that utopian civilization. This is what I believe many of the governments are looking for, and what these wars are all about. They're in search of something desperate.
Well, I believe that.
And through this codex,
Yeah.
it takes you step by step. That's the amazing part of it. It actually takes you step by step. I kind of probably went in and it doesn't really matter where you go in. If you follow the trail, you will end up knowing the whole story, and then you can start and go, right? So you could learn this from one monument, say Stonehenge, and eventually follow the trail. You're going to learn that it does come from the Great Pyramid, and it goes all the way around, comes back to the Great Pyramid. So this codex lays it all out, and it tells you the cycle,
Mm-hmm.
and it also leads you to the Hall of Records.
Okay, well, let's talk about that real quick then. Let's see. What does the website does talk about the Nazca lines and pretty much the Hall of Records. I mean, the Nazca lines is a kind of a treasure map. Is that what you're saying of the Hall of the Records?
Right. Yes. Agreed.
Okay. So why can't we get to
recording of a previous civilization?
So why can't we get to the Hall of Records, or have we?
That's a good question. Have we? If you believe what Casey stated,
mm-hmm.
he stated that there were, and I think there was some others too.
Yeah.
Casey stated there were actually 3 Hall of Records. 2 are basically decoys. They have a clue to the original, to the real Hall of Records. So have they found the real one? No. I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, how come we
can't? They
may
have found one or both of the decoys. And one, for those of you who are listening, I want you to understand right now, what's underneath the Sphinx is a decoy. It is not the real Hall of Records.
And what leads you to believe that?
What leads me to believe that's not the real Hall of Records?
Right.
The Great Pyramid blueprints.
Okay.
Which are what we were just talking about, Nazca lines.
Okay.
The blueprints show you everything.
Right. Well, then how come we can't find it then? I mean, if the Nazca lines are a treasure map, pretty much for
the Nazca lines are a blueprint of the Great Pyramid. Yes. So they're showing you what's laid out there.
Okay. Huh. Okay, because I think on your website you say the Hall of Records is the Nazca lines is an actual treasure map for the Hall of Records. No.
Yes. Yes, it is. You're correct. They do say that.
Okay, then how come we can't find it?
Oh well, That's like giving the kids the matches. If you understand what I'm saying.
Giving them the what?
Giving the kids the matches and then going away.
Oh, okay.
They haven't made it that easy. We need to grow up before we can use what's there. You give a child advanced technology, they're only going to harm themselves and those around them. So that's why it's taken us to this point, I guess, to get to the Hall of Records.
So the Nazca lines really are deceiving then. It's not actually telling you exactly where the Hall of Records are then.
Well, the Nazca lines are basic. The Nazca lines are not the original true Great Pyramid blueprints. They're not. They are a rendition to the Great Pyramid blueprints because they are a teaching tool.
Okay.
So once you can decode Nazca, what it's showing you, it's teaching you, you're learning step by step. It takes you to that point.
And have you gotten to, have you decoded that? Have you gotten anywhere near figuring that out?
I've gotten to what Nazca is explaining, and then you need to find the location.
Okay. Well, what is it explaining? Can you kind of...
it explains the Great Pyramid, as I stated. It shows you all that. Okay. But it also, so here I am working at, now for the listeners who are not familiar with this, I've used Google Earth to recreate Nazca on top of Nazca, but in color. And I've color coordinated everything, the geometric patterns and the trapezoids and the lines themselves to show what's there in the Desert Plateau. Now the lines are the key. They are different thicknesses. So when you see the different thicknesses and you follow them, you color coordinate that thickness in a specific color. Then you will see what's laid out at Nazca. It makes no mistake that. So by doing so, you also learn that the geoglyphs are mathematical presentations as building icons to understand that part of the build procedure. Now, once you learn all this and it's taking you through all that to the very end, all these blueprints are showing you are a pyramid. But the last blueprint it teaches you is not a pyramid, it's a building.
Okay. What kind of building? It's
well, I have a drawing of it on my website.
Okay.
That I've taken from Nazca to show how you can see it.
Okay, so go to...
Well, I haven't shown you how you can see it. I shouldn't say I haven't shown you. I've shown you the drawing. I haven't explained how to find it.
Right.
Because you have to recreate Nazca to do it. It's only when you recreate Nazca that you get it, what is really there. Now, when you recreate Nazca and you understand the Great Pyramid, they also use solstice light on the drawings in Nazca to cross the peak of their pyramid drawings, just as the Great Pyramid in Giza. So they made no mistake. Now, there's a 2D drawing cutaway of the Great Pyramid. It's 13 kilometers tall and 13.1 kilometers wide. That's drawing. Now, that's significant because it's 13.1 kilometers wide, and the Great Pyramid sits on 13.1 acres. It's 13 kilometers tall. We know the Great Pyramid's 481 feet. 4 plus 8 plus 1 is 13. So they've calculated it there in Nazca, and they gave you the 13 code. So they've made no mistake. So it was just a matter of recreating Nazca and also taking the measurements.
Okay.
And then when you're finished the pyramid, you are left with a building.
Okay. I'm still trying to wrap this around my head. Okay. You've gotten a blueprint. You've kind of deciphered by overlaying these images and decoding and seeing that there is another building other than these pyramids. But in that the Nazca Lines, where I mean, you've pretty much said you've seen another building. Where does that lie on this map or whatever it is you are seeing on the Nazca Lines? That, I mean, can't you somehow figure out where the Hall of Records are from that building that you're is decoded from the Nazca Lines? No?
Yes and no. You have to know Nazca like the back of your hand, or you would never get it. You'd never get what the blueprints are talking about. You have to read the icons.
Okay. And each
icon is telling a story, so
right.
You have to read them.
Do you know where the true Hall of Records are?
I know the area that the blueprint fits of the building, yes. I know where it belongs, yes. And that's what you have to do. You have to match.
And where is that?
The building to the area.
And where is that at?
Once you do that, it fits like a glove.
Okay.
So you're looking at it and you're going, "Oh, was this an accident?" Then.
Yeah. So where is it? I mean, are you able to tell us? Where is the actual Hall of Records, the true Hall of Records?
Do you know? I don't want to reveal that because
JD.
I know, but listen, my friend. If this falls into the wrong hands, we'll be lost forever.
But JD, I mean, aren't we lost kind of right now? Anyways, we've got wars going on. We've got people beheading. We got people killing.
All that. It takes the power of the people, but we can stop it.
But if we got people that, I mean, you say you know where it is. I mean, if you can't let us know, or even say where, I mean, so you're part of the, and I'm not being mean. We're having a conversation. So I mean, I'm understanding. I'm just going back and forth here a little bit. I think nothing should be hidden.
I'll explain it to you this way.
Okay, go ahead.
Nazca is a teaching tool that could only be done when we got the technology. There've been thousands of photographs taken of Nazca, but you can't see all of Nazca. Mm-hmm. It had to take technology to get there. Now, by recreating Nazca and finding out it's all about pyramids, and you find an underlying building that doesn't fit in there whatsoever, and you read the story that the geoglyphs are telling, and you match the building to the location.
Right. But
that's
again, it's hard for me.
No, I gotta be honest, Mm-hmm. I think if I could do this, mm-hmm. then I'm pretty well sure that the governments have done it. So it's quite possible they found the blueprint. Did they match it up? Do they know where it is? I don't know. It doesn't appear that way. It doesn't from what I can see.
Okay. So, I mean, is this something that technically it would be buried wherever it is?
Yes, it's buried. It's buried. If you go back to the mythology, to the Hall of Records, then it's buried. Yes, it's exactly what it says. And actually, if you go back to Thoth's mythology on the Great Pyramid, and you follow his mythology, his wisdom, mm-hmm. verbatim, follow exactly what he says. You'll get it. You'll go there. You'll get to the Hall of Records because he tells you. But you have to follow what he says. And nobody does. They all get mixed up in the wording because Thoth's a crafty guy. He states to find the Hall of Records, to draw a line from the pyramid he builded to the gateway pyramid. Now, everybody that does that draws a line to the Menkaure pyramid or some silly pyramid, some silly location within Egypt. That's not what Thoth said. He said, draw to the gateway pyramid. So when you search the planet and you realize this is an advanced civilization, right, about these monuments, gateway pyramid means gateway. And they're, if you look at the continents across the planet where the monuments are,
Mm-hmm.
Chichen Itza is the gateway to South America and North America.
Okay.
So you draw a line from the apex of the Great Pyramid to Kukulkan to the gateway.
Well, let me get back to this Hall of Records again. What is so bad? Like, say somebody accidentally if it hasn't been discovered already, which I tend to think maybe we already know. But anyways,
actually, if I'm correct in the location, Dino,
mm-hmm.
it hasn't been excavated because I can see it on Google Earth, and as far as satellite imagery updated goes so far,
okay,
it's not been excavated.
Then let me ask you this: if you say you technically know where the Hall of Records are? What are you scared of? What is it that is in there that is going to either, I mean, because I've always known the Hall of Records to be something that is going to help us, further us along in our awareness and our civilization as a whole itself. So why would going there and finding out what's in there be a bad thing?
Well, no. What I'm saying is the advanced technology, if it fell into the wrong hands.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want it being used as a war machine, because we'd be looking at New World Order.
So, but the thing is, then you're saying that there are people like you who technically may have decoded where the Hall of Records are, but are just leaving it there and not saying anything.
Oh no.
Okay.
I've created Unison Quest,
okay.
And that is to create a big enough voice so that the free people of the world will be able to get this designated as a UNESCO, and it cannot be taken by the government. That's why I've created Unison Quest. I understand how the governments sequester and hide things.
Right.
I understand religious institutions do the same thing. We've seen it in our histories.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand fully that they would do that with us. First off, they're trying to hide our true history by denouncing anyone who states that there was an advanced civilization prior, which confuses me because when you read scripture, it tells you that specifically. There was an advanced civilization who got wiped out at the Tower of Babel.
Mm-hmm.
We were so advanced we could build buildings to the sky. We could do whatever the gods could do. They were jealous and came down and wiped us out. They scattered our one world language and scattered the people to the corners of the earth. Pretty advanced if we can build buildings to the sky, don't you think?
Well,
if we had the power of gods, that's quite an advanced civilization.
Well, what do you think actually wiped them out then?
The monuments themselves explain that. There are locations where they're built. Tell us.
Okay.
We go through a cycle. And I explain it this way. You're traveling down the highway. There are times when our planet is a car. Our solar system is a car, a vehicle on the highway. There are times when we're traveling down the road where you only see one or two vehicles. Every now and then you see a transport trailer. But there are times when we go through a lot of traffic, and there are times when we get bottlenecked. And our solar system is exactly the same way. And this is why we see these counts in history by the Mayans of the Baktun or the Yuga cycles, which takes advanced knowledge. You have to be around a long time and study these cycles to know them.
Okay.
And you have to be intelligent enough to catalog them. They're not knuckle draggers who created this.
But what destroyed the ancient civilization that built all of this?
We go through a cycle of a debris field. This debris field creates brimstone and fire, or asteroids and comet impact. This asteroid and comet impact hits oceans, rivers, lakes, causes great tsunamis. Now, it also sets off the ring of fire, or the beast from the abyss in Scripture. And the ring of fire is a volcanic ring that encompasses all the continents that's in the ocean. Now, this also sets off mega earthquakes. So there's very little left.
And what is that called? What causes it? Is it Nibiru? Is it
Well, Nibiru is a word from Sumerian history,
right,
that means crossing. It doesn't mean a planet. It means crossing. It's referred to in Babylonian history as Mercury crossing in front of the sun. And it's also used to describe the Venus pentagram. But you can find it also, not the word, but the explanation you can find in Mayan history as the crossing in the Milky Way. So we are crossing through a path of debris.
Okay. And are we bombarded with debris, or I mean, what causes all of this?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
It pushes on our Kuiper belt, which is a debris system, which forces debris into our solar system.
Which destroys all civilization.
That also causes havoc on our inner asteroid belt, which pushes everything in towards the inner planets. And of course, our sun combats this by throwing off coronal mass ejections.
And this is what destroys the civilizations. This is the one.
This is what wipes out a good portion of humanity. When you read, when certain religions talk about an accession, they believe that 144,000 will be saved, which is true. But what they're missing is Scripture was created by an advanced civilization.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, how do they know that that's how many people will be saved?
They don't. Scripture has misconstrued it either by accident or on purpose. I shouldn't say Scripture. Right. It's written that way in Scripture now. Mm-hmm. What they're giving you is a percentage point of metric, because they were an advanced civilization. They calculated in metric. You see this with the monuments. When you look at the professionals' calculations of the Western monuments, everything comes out in metric. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Which shows you an advanced civilization long ago. Now, when you correlate that into the Bible and you understand numerics in the Bible that are explaining astronomy, you can see where the decimal point was misplaced.
Again, though, I'll come back to, and sorry, I keep coming back to this. If the ancient civilizations, especially the furthest one that created everything that supposedly could help us in the future, it's not going to help us anyways if it's all a cycle and civilizations get destroyed over and over and over and over. Is there anything in the Hall of Records or anything that they passed on to us that can help that, can get us over that hump and let one of these civilizations in the future, or even ours, get past that and not be destroyed like they have been?
No, we can't get past it. What we can do is, what it's meant to do is more people to survive so that we can get back to the utopian society quicker. Okay. Could do it in 1,000 years instead of 10,000 years if nothing is suppressed. That's the perfect picture. And that's what they're explaining. Now back to Scripture, because we got off on that and people messed up. We were talking about the 144,000. Now Scripture is actually calculated in metric, so the 144,000 is percentage. So it should be reading 14.4% of the overall population will ascend or survive. They don't know how many people in our civilization will be. They don't know anything like that. They are going by their civilization.
Right.
And they're giving us what they went through and their percentage of their survival rate, of theirs. So they're explaining that's the lowest. If we don't do the right things, that's the lowest we'll get down to. If we do the right things, it would be a higher percentage.
And how often does this occur? Does it say anywhere in the scriptures or anything? How often civilizations?
Scripture does give you the approximation, because so much is hidden from the truth in the Bible that I'm not sure if I've got the correct number exact. I'm sure of a whole number, but I'm not sure of an exact number. Put it that way.
Okay, throw me a whole number. Give me an idea.
A whole number would go with
Sorry, catching you off
guard there. I'm trying to think of how to explain it.
Okay.
A whole number would go with Cro-Magnon man.
Okay.
Approximately, with a whole number would be 40,000. Approximately 40,000 years ago, Cro-Magnon man came from nowhere.
Okay, there you go. Wow. So when's the next catastrophe going to hit us?
All I'm going to say for that is Graham Hancock quoted a number of 2030, which is wrong, in my assumption. Now, smartest man that ever lived, so academics say, is Sir Isaac Newton.
Right.
Sir Isaac Newton, most don't realize, was a very religious person. And he spent all his life trying to find out that answer. So he calculated an end times date of 2060.
So that's coming up very, very fast, ain't it?
Correct. Right, it is. Now, for those out there who have read Sitchin's work and believed in the Nibiru theory, I want to make it clear right now that in his last book, he states Nibiru doesn't come back till the year 2800. So those out there that are saying Nibiru's here and present, that is not what Sitchin calculated.
So that's just a whole other topic by itself.
That is another. Well, it's the ancient astronaut theory,
right?
Created by. Well, it wasn't really Eric von Daniken who created it, but he publicized it quite a bit. Can't remember the fellow's name who actually kind of made it popular.
But do you believe in the whole Nibiru story?
No, I've studied astronomy. I understand completely. A planet cannot travel through the solar system without a sun and harbor life.
Right.
Cannot do it. Nothing more than marsupial life.
But a ship?
A ship?
I mean, people speak of Nibiru being an actual, ship.
Well, the other story to Nibiru is it collided with a planet in our solar system. If you've ever seen two vehicles collide,
right,
and it doesn't really matter if it's a small compact vehicle colliding with a tractor trailer, they both suffer damage.
Yeah.
Depending on their size is how much damage they suffer. And there's no way a planet could hit another planet and not survive an impact shock that would just strip it completely of its atmosphere and kill everything on it.
Interesting.
Not a direct blow, not a glancing blow. It wouldn't work. Both planets would be.
Yeah.
Civilization would be destroyed.
Yeah. Somebody in chat, Chase, he's saying Nibiru is a ship, not a planet. It destroyed a planet with an energy blast. Oh, and he also says to ask you about the significance of number 37.
The significance of number 37.
Yeah.
That is something I'm not familiar with. I've heard it spoken, but it's something that's just new that's came up.
Okay. Okay. Well, Chase, if you know, type it in chat. Not sure of that one, the number 37.
I'll have to research that. Leonard mentioned that to me on the show also.
Okay. Huh.
And I was like, yes, I've read a little bit about it. It's fairly new.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So what do you think? He says it's a stamp.
It's pardon?
He says it's a stamp. I guess you need to be a little bit more specific than that. Or it's a stamp or a branding. The number 37. Well, I'll tell you what, Chase. Yeah, shoot me a text
Well, that's
later.
quite possible.
Yeah.
The way if you use mine calculation, which they're doing that's sacred geometry. You don't use the 0.
Right.
So 37 is 3 and 7 is 10, which is 1.
Okay.
Because you don't use the 0.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, Chase.
Shoot
me a text definitely and let me know a little bit more in depth on that, because I'd be interested in to know about what you're talking about there. So, boy, oh my God, so many things. I'm still on the Hall of Records. I mean, do you have any idea on what's actually in there? There's nothing in anything that you've researched that tells you what's in there, or do you know?
I know what you know from mythology. Do you know
Okay.
that what's there will save the world? The technology there is so advanced it will save the world.
But
which
that's all
also
we
tells
know.
me if it's that advanced, it can be used for bad. So we have, and that's what mythology also tells you, that the correct people need to find it.
This is the stuff that gets me, though, JD. You know, I mean, it's, all these hidden secrets, these, the Hall of stuff like that. That just, it's there, and then you hear, I know what's there, it's there, or we know that certain people know it's there, but nothing's ever done about it, or, it drives me nuts.
Well, what can you do? You can't walk in on your own. The government will take it from you, or you'll get offed.
No, that's true, but
so you're not helping society whatsoever.
I tell you what,
I understand those who believe they've found something significant and they don't want to share it because they are afraid of that type of scenario. You also have to understand, by changing history, you're changing what's presented from religion. So you have a lot of religious zealots that are going to be upset with what you've done, in denial, if you want to call it that.
Right.
So there are a lot of people that have that issue, that they're afraid. They may not be afraid, but they have other circumstances in life that they're not in that situation to do this type of thing.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Right.
You could have a family that you can't put yourself out in that type of some type of scenario where you can't, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've tried to think the best way to go through how to present this, or not present this, but how to get this out so that it can't be stopped. And the only way I could ever think of it is to present it to my peers, and in hopes that we can create a loud enough voice that what's found there will be shared for the good of humanity.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and the more people speak out and say this, possibly the people who can get to it and do good with it can get to it, right? I mean, is that the whole point here?
That's the whole point.
Okay.
That is the whole point.
Because if I'm looking at maybe possibly the year 2064 being the year that everything goes downhill and, a big catastrophe.
Well, that's a very, very... Where'd you get that number, can I ask, if you don't mind?
Isn't that what you just said?
Did you just pull that out of your hat, or what?
I thought you said that. I thought you said...
2064? No, I stated that Sir Isaac Newton calculated 2060.
Okay, then you know what? That number just flew out of my head for some reason. Then
okay.
How about that?
I was like, wow.
but if I knew it was...
Did that. Okay, I was just curious.
I'll tell you
It
what
was
though,
an interesting number.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Speaking of numbers. But I'm just saying if I knew that it was that close to being the end again, and I knew where the Hall of Records was, I'm going to put it out there, and I don't care who knows about it. And you know,
Well, if you are a skeptic or a conspiracist, and you look around the world and you see governments that are creating dumbs
mm-hmm.
by the minute, and why?
Yeah.
What are they preparing for?
No, that's
So,
true. That's true.
so I do all kinds of research. Not just history. So
Can I ask you what that noise is, JD?
that is my 18-pound Boston terrorist dog. Oh, sorry,
Oh,
Boston Terrier. That's what.
okay. I'm like, what is that?
She is in a snore fest.
Okay, that's
She's listened to
awesome.
me for 5 years now, and
Okay,
she's
cool.
going to sleep.
Well, there you go. Well, you know what? I had to mention it because in my mind, I'm going. You either got the loudest grumbellies going on right now, or
I Actually, she's made an appearance in different radio shows.
awesome. No, yeah,
But,
that's cool. At least I know that's her. She's snoring away there. That's cool.
yeah,
There
I
you
think
go.
she should become quite popular.
JD
She's
and the snoring dog in the background. There you go.
no bigger than a house cat,
Yeah,
but
right.
snores
Yeah.
like a full-grown man.
Isn't that funny? Wow. Wow.
And she's on the other side of the room. Thank goodness she's not sitting right beside me.
Really? Okay, so that Mike's really yeah, getting it out there. Wow, wow.
And she's about 12 feet away, yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's here. Chase says again, the hall is being guarded. You will not find it. So he believes that it's actually been found and being guarded, and evidently it's being guarded. Hopefully by somebody good. Then Chase. I mean, I'm not sure how you know that, but if you do know, it'd be cool to let me know who you think's actually guarding it. If you think somebody's guarding it, you must have an idea on who is actually guarding the Hall of Records. So let me know. Type it in the chat there. I would be very, very curious. That's for sure.
So would I. I've
Exactly.
had people come on Facebook and message me in
Mm-hmm.
regards to the Hall of Records. Because it's no secret. I've put it out in my group.
Right.
Every now and then I put a little post on it. And I put the picture up that.
Okay. Yeah, Chase says the Vatican and Smithsonian. Well, you know what? That makes me feel a little bit better, but
No, the Vatican
not a whole lot.
doesn't have the Hall of Records, and they don't know where it is.
Okay.
Now the Smithsonian works for the government. It's government.
Mm-hmm.
So when you
Okay.
say Smithsonian, you mean the government.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Definitely. I don't know.
Now, did they know where it is? No, they don't know where it is.
Okay.
I follow their footsteps, and I have for many, many years.
So
I
you
see
still
where they're going with their wars. I see exactly where they're going and what they do with them. And they're looking for something now. If they found the Hall of Records, they wouldn't still be going to certain areas looking for it.
okay? So you definitely believe nobody's found it yet.
No, I don't think anyone has found it.
Okay.
The technology there is more advanced than what we are using today. So if it has been found, they either don't understand it
Mm-hmm.
and haven't been able to use it or recreate it,
Right. Yeah.
or they're not showing it whatsoever.
Yeah. And John
I
Gilbert
don't
in the
think they found it. I really don't.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think Nazca was laid out that way for fun.
And it's funny that well, let me real quick. John Gilbert in the chat said if they knew where it is, there would be no wars in the Middle East. The search is on. This is why we war. Okay, so there you go. Anyways, if they have the, it's funny how the Nazca lines are so far away from the Great Pyramid, but yet it gives you a clue to what's on the other side of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Nazca Desert was chosen specifically because of its non-weather patterns. It gets very little weather pattern there whatsoever. It's protected by the mountains that are close to the ocean. So anything blowing over off of the ocean gets blown over the mountain. Now, the desert's also a heliocoil desert, which means the heat from the desert pushes back up into the air. So any dirt and debris stays in the air. It gets pushed to the side, which keeps the lines relatively clean.
Right.
And according to our scientists, Nazca has not seen any weather pattern change since the Ice Age. And pretty much the only desert in the planet. So whoever created this understood our planet very well.
Well, let me ask you this too then. Who do you believe are these creators of... do you think it's all the same civilization that created, say, the Nazca Lines, the pyramids in Egypt, even in South America? I mean, who are the originators of these, this past civilization we're talking about?
Do you mean, was it an Earth civilization or an off-world civilization?
Sure, that's what yeah.
I don't believe it was an off-world civilization. I don't believe they were alien created, because the aliens would be too advanced, so there would be no need to create these monuments on the Earth, especially not for line of sight reference. They would have an advanced GPS, so there would be no need for anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't need to create them as a language. There'd be no need for that. Not unless they were going to live here forever.
So how about this then? Do you believe that if it wasn't aliens that created civilization, do you think we had help from the aliens or any kind of alien race?
I believe there was a ancient astronaut civilization that it's going to be on Monday's radio show with Leonard O'Neill on Orion Rising.
Yep.
And we're going to discuss a new article that's going to be released during his show explaining all this. So I can't really say too much, Dino.
No, that's okay. Save it for his show. That's okay. That's all right.
Yes, this off-world race taught humanity. No, they did not create the monuments.
Okay.
Our civilization.
But they did help.
This was very, very long time ago in our history.
Right.
And our civilization did advance to the point where they created the monuments. This is written for humans.
Right.
Now, if there's an alien species abducting humans, that's because they're advanced enough to be able to read these monuments. And they want to know why we've sent a message to ourselves, but today's civilization is blaming them for it. They can read the message clearly. It's math, geometry, and astronomy.
Right.
Meant for Earth, from Earth.
So you do believe that there is some kind of intervening?
I believe there's life out in the universe, of course.
Okay, yeah.
Do I believe there's an advanced species that can transverse star systems? Not 100% sold on that.
Yeah.
And even if there is, would they come to our solar system? It would be more harder. It'd be for because our society hasn't really progressed that far. Aliens would have an extremely hard time conversing with us. We wouldn't understand. and it'd be too hard for them to dumb down.
Yeah, true. I mean, they say that they're working with our government even to this day. I mean, but
Well,
that's a whole different
Stephen Greer
subject.
just
Yeah.
came out and stated that. Now we know from a fact that 95. Okay, let's get
Hmm.
into the UFO thing a little bit.
Okay.
UFO means unidentified flying object.
Right.
Doesn't mean alien flying object. It means unidentified.
Right.
We don't know what it is. We haven't made up our minds. According to what's documented, 95% of what's presented is a hoax. So we are left with 5%.
Hmm.
Now, according to Dr. Greer, now I'm stating this because I've been saying this for a very long time because I followed astronomy and I followed rocketry. So
Right.
I'm very familiar with Wernher von Braun
Mm-hmm.
and the history of rocketry. Now, just recently, one of the biggest advocates for alienology and abductions, Dr. Stephen Greer, came out and stated that it is a hoax by New World Organization, and they're using the advanced technology to perpetrate this hoax to create New World Order. Now, he just realized this because he found Dr. Carol Rosen, who was an assistant to Wernher von Braun, who explained all this to her.
Hmm.
And if you follow the footsteps of what Wernher von Braun stated, you see it clearly.
Okay. And what is that specifically that he said?
He stated that it was all, when he left NASA, he stated that it was all a hoax. He stated that first there would be a Cold War, which there was with Russia.
Right.
He also stated that there would be a no-name war, which is terrorism. There's no name.
Mm-hmm.
And he stated that there would be fake asteroid impacts, and that we would be our governments would be stating that they're going to build interstellar nuclear weapons to ward off asteroids and stuff, which they've been talking about. And then he states that there will be a false alien invasion. Now we see everything coming up. Just we see a lot of alien stuff coming up now, but all the other stuff has already come through.
Right. Except for the
So
false alien
it's
invasion.
it's pretty easy to, when you follow this. And he stated this. He made these comments back in the 70s. So when you can follow the foot trail, the money, follow the money, you can see what's coming down the line. Now, interestingly, since the internet's come about, we see a lot of things cataloged. A
Yeah.
lot of it is just a hoax. A lot of it's misunderstood.
Oh, it's hard to get through. Yeah.
A lot of it's CGI. The latest CGI gray alien video, which is a very good video. Now, I want to state this before I get into the video thing.
Okay.
Some people say there's a galactic federation of 84 different aliens. Some people say there's up to 900 different aliens. We never see a alien other than a gray alien.
Right.
We don't see a reptoid. We don't see anything, just a gray alien. And they're always horrible footage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the newest one, intriguingly, is very good footage. But if you watch that video, the alien tells you he's not an alien, that he's a human come back from the future.
Huh.
Which I thought, well, there's a little bit of a mess up. What's going on there?
Interesting.
Very interesting.
So what's your take on it then?
And then recently, Stephen Greer comes out with
Mm-hmm.
It's New World Order hoax.
Okay. Huh.
So,
but what's the
I understand. I want to throw this out really quick.
Go ahead.
If you go to a hypnotist show,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You will watch the hypnotist bring 50 people onto the stage. He will try to hypnotize them. He will send approximately 20 back. He will have 30 on the stage that he can hypnotize. Some he can hypnotize much more than others. They become the stars of the show. They believe it all, which tells you 60% of the overall population can be manipulated to believe something that's not even real.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I mean, believe it that you will argue it and defend it and
Yep.
fight for it.
100% agree.
And through subliminal messaging of television and
Yep.
PC computers and iPhones and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because now Tesla stated if you change the tone of music, you can control a person's endorphins. And they did that.
Yes.
Music changed and it became very volatile. And it changes civilization's endorphins. And it's been proven that it only takes approximately 30 to 50 years to completely change a civilization.
Interesting.
Now, since 1947,
Yeah.
our civilization has been changing, actually since World War II. It's been changing vastly.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
The technology that we had in the 1970s to get to the moon and all of put
Yeah.
satellites into orbit and everything,
Mm-hmm.
that's stagnated. It really hasn't progressed whatsoever. Yet technology has boomed on the surface of the planet.
Yeah, but not above the planet. But
Right.
anyways,
Right.
that we know of.
Which is wrong. Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is completely wrong. Because they go hand in hand.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
When the space shuttle,
mm-hmm.
beautiful, beautiful bird.
Yep.
It took a plant that housed the computer the size of a mall to fly that bird, which we have today that much technology in our iPhones and more.
Well, why did we stop again? You know, it's like
What's being hidden is what
Yeah.
it is.
Well,
It's not
that's-
why nothing stopped.
right.
It just got hidden.
Wow. Well, we can go to a million different.
They stopped sharing it.
Yeah. Well, this whole Stephen Greer thing, this whole false alien thing and all. I mean, I don't understand the whole. I mean, I don't know if you do either. You might not either. But I mean, what's the whole point of that? I mean, again, we can harken back to the ancient civilization and them trying to, that's why everything's,
If they keep us confused and disinformation, it does keep us fighting quite a bit. We'll never find the truth.
But what is it that they're hiding? Why are say there's
the advanced technology? We have some powerful people in control of the world that do not want to share the advanced technology. They don't want to give up their rights as royal blood is in their mind, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah. So do you believe actually that there is a race of alien species that are working with our government hand in hand right now on this planet?
No, because
okay,
if they were, our planet would be better off. There wouldn't be harmful aliens, that's for sure.
Okay.
It would be benevolent. They'd be here to help.
So I wonder what
if you look at the abduction series that we are told about.
Yes.
No one's ever harmed other than being probed. No one comes back with a missing finger or their eye is gone or the tooth is missing or anything like that.
Well,
so
they've got
this. They're not harming. They're not harming.
They do.
And if they were here to control us, if they were here to take over, they'd just send a bug. And the bug would lay us all down. And when we woke up, we'd be quarantined and we wouldn't know any better.
So you don't believe in all the the alien implants and even the scoop marks that are taken out?
I studied that. I still am. I shouldn't say wasn't. I'm still an alienology and ufology fan.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've studied it inside and out. And again, I will state that you can be made to believe stuff that is not real. You can be actually inserted with something and not even know it. And then later on, you have this probe in you, and it just becomes more disinformation that's put out to the public is really what it is. You call it MLK Ultra if you want, but some of these people don't even know that they're inducted into this.
So it's pretty much we can push the aliens aside. It has nothing to do with them. It has to do with the elite, the government, whatever you want to call it.
And that's to do with humans, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I would like to say that there's even evil aliens out that have done this to us, and it's all their fault. But that's just a blame game. We sit around and put the blame game. We don't want to do nothing. We're waiting for a savior to come back and help us. We're waiting for aliens to come and help us. It's not about that. It's about us.
Well, I agree with
humanity.
you. I agree with you.
Now, if there is a savior and if there is benevolent aliens, they would much rather come here once we fixed ourselves.
Yeah.
They don't want to come here and try to clean up this mess.
Yeah, I guess
our planet's like. Have you ever watched that show Hoarders? Our planet's like that.
I know.
Only with war and killing.
But you know what? There's a side of me though that says I even on this, like right now, if I see somebody hurting or sad, I want to help them. You know what I mean? So that whole idea where they wouldn't want to come here because we're just crazy,
well,
people.
I'll state this: if you, especially with the technology, you can watch stuff on YouTube or whatever.
But why not help us?
Where people are assaulted.
Yeah.
Now, there are other people standing there watching. It's not that they don't want to help. They're worried about the consequences. We kill everything on our planet. And we ask questions about it later. There's a show on television right now called I'm Going to Kill Bigfoot. Not catch Bigfoot.
Right.
I'm not going to help Bigfoot. I'm going to kill him.
What a stupid
name. I'm going to shoot his ass dead. Not worry about nothing.
Yeah.
Aliens don't want that. Humanity doesn't want a question.
But again, JD, yeah, I'm not sure how, your view on it.
If they were benevolent and coming here, they would do something in a point of view where they would control the government so that nothing could be hurt.
Well,
they would have that much technology.
Yeah.
If they were evil, they would have just sent some type of bug.
True.
True. And it would have just captivated us all and quarantined us right away. And when they showed up, there wouldn't be anything we could do about it.
Yeah, I know I'm taking you off of what we started with, but it's it's
an interesting conversation. And it does need to be said.
Yeah, I mean, because again, I think everybody. When I bring that up to a lot of people who are in the alien and field and deal with alien abductions, aliens dealing with the government, and really believe that. That's their reason behind it. Why don't they help us out as a civilization? Well, they're working with the government right now. They're doing stuff with them, the elite, and don't.
Why would they? They'd be too advanced to want to deal with our government people. That's what I don't understand.
Exactly. I mean,
there's no need for them to deal with our governments whatsoever. There would be no need for them to hide.
Yeah, you can go in many different directions, JD. I mean, it's. But again, I'm saying if I'm in charge of an alien race, okay, I'm from whatever solar system and whatever planet, and I come across, wow, look at these humans on this planet Earth, okay, they're destroying each other, they're doing things that aren't nice, and I think they need some guidance. I think they need some help. There's got to be a race that's out there that would say that, and if I was in charge, I would intervene. I would say, do whatever I could to give the technology to bring peace amongst the planet, whether it be genetically because there's people who are mentally insane, fix that too if capable of. I would do all of these things, and. But then again, that's just my view. I do understand everybody else's view, and ants on a petri dish. Why would they want to get involved with us? But me, if I was, I would help out. So,
I agree with you 100%. I understand what you're saying 100%. I'm just looking at the facts. Yeah. If there was a benevolent alien civilization, we'd be aware of them. We all would be. My children would grow up with them and know no different.
Yeah.
Now, because they'd be so advanced. Now, if they're afraid of what humanity does to each other would be happening to them, then it is possible that they would abduct somebody and inform them of the information to be able to use for the good of humanity. It's possible that would happen. However, we don't see that in our, anyone that comes out with some type of technology that's going to help humanity gets suppressed, and a lot of these people just end up dead.
I know. Oh, yeah.
That's not really how, if there's aliens doing that, that's not helping.
No. Yeah, I know.
So,
I know. Which goes to tell you that I don't think there's any here actually doing anything. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I really wish they were. If they're, I look at our global civilization and how it's working, and I do wish there was an alien civilization that would come here and say, "Look, that's enough. Stop right now. That's not working, and this is going to work, and this is how we're going to do it. And once you guys got it, we're done." But that's wishful thinking. When you open your eyes to the reality of what's happening in the planet, that's not happening.
Yeah. So where are you looking to go with this whole Codex 13? Are you just continuing on with, pursuing this? And what is your ultimate goal with completion on this?
Well, these monuments were designed so that we would know our history. So, in the least of this, then the children of the future will know our history. They won't suppress it. Not as technology advances. More and more information will come out. And academics will have to change.
Okay, so that's really pretty much your main message with everything you're trying to get done here, right?
Well, the main message is to understand that our history was different, and our prior civilization was advanced to the point where they didn't war because they created a global message. They weren't warring. And we could get back to that. We can get back to that civilization.
Yeah.
But we can't get there if we don't know our history.
We're
in a land of confusion.
Well, I am right now, JD. I mean, I still trying to understand what, through all this sacred geometry and everything, and we can't access the Hall of Records.
Well, we can. They set it up so that, as I said, they set it up for a perfect scenario.
Okay.
Didn't work that way.
Because I'm not learning nothing from the pyramids. I'm sorry to say. I mean, what have you learned from? Let's just take the Great Pyramid. What knowledge have we gained from that? What is it that they have passed on to us, or have we not learned anything from it yet, other than that it's from an ancient civilization and it's got all this sacred geometry and all this lines up? What have we actually learned from it?
Whatever been learned from Great Pyramid's been suppressed because we haven't been shared anything other than mathematics and some astronomy.
See.
Now, the astronomy that I've researched in mathematics from the Great Pyramid gives us a cycle, which would help humanity. If people understood it, more people knew about it, more awareness, more would survive.
But how do you know that? I mean, and I'm just throwing this out for discussion. I mean, how do you know that? If we have no idea what's in there, how do we know it's actually even going to help us? Where does it say in anything that you've researched or anything that says it's going to help us?
That can only come from mythology. That's the only example that I can give you. Other than the monuments are so advanced, it's showing you a higher technology.
Is there anything in mythology that tells us exactly what's in there? At all?
No, not exactly. Like, it doesn't describe anything exactly. And if it does, it's so advanced we don't understand the description to it.
But is there something out there that's tried to describe it and we're like, what the heck are you describing? Like, this is just unbelievable.
Well, the Great Pyramid itself, and it's taken this long to try to understand what it's talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Plus the other monuments of them too.
Well, what are your thoughts on the Great Pyramid? I mean, what do you actually think it was used for? I mean, what is its purpose? You know.
Well, what I actually think is I looked at all the different, and I don't mean to offend anybody, I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I've studied the Great Pyramid. I've studied the masters who've studied the Great Pyramid. So when people come up with the theory that it's a machine, it doesn't fit the description from what was cataloged of the Great Pyramid. The other thing is these people who come up with the idea that it's a machine never create a miniature model to show you how it works
Yeah.
for some strange reason.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was it a machine? I do believe it was, but not the type of machine that has been presented. As I said, I studied the Great Pyramid quite a bit. I've studied the research on it by different researchers who've cataloged this in history. One of the greatest books I've read,
Mm-hmm.
I should say, one of the greatest books that allowed me to think towards a conclusion on the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
His author is John DeSaville, Dr. John DeSaville, and the book is Decoding the Pyramids.
Right.
And he goes through the history of the pyramids and everything in the pyramids, but he also goes through where he studied this with other researchers who've tried different, if you want to call it pyramid power, things with the pyramid, and which have been proven. So,
like what? As a couple examples.
the example I'm going to go with the one because this is basically what I'm talking about.
Okay.
He took a bag of corn seed. The researchers took a bag of corn seed.
Mm-hmm.
They divided it in half. They put half in the king's chamber, and the other half they didn't put in the pyramid at all. And they left it in there for a certain amount of time. They took those seeds out, and then they planted the corn seeds of the king's chamber on one side of the field, and the ones that weren't in the pyramid on the other side of the field. The ones that were in the pyramid grew 6 times faster, yielded 6 times more in abundance, and were 6 times more potent. So it has a significance to change the somatics of a seed vibratory inside of the DNA to the seed. It has that. It makes it that much more stronger. It also does that with water. It will purify water to 99.8%. So if you combine the purified water with the seeds, you will be able to grow food abundantly in a very short period of time. Now, we also understand that where the Great Pyramid is located was at one time a lush tropical area.
Right.
So they're showing us how to not just grow, but to turn areas that aren't viable growing areas into viable growing areas. Now they do that because the Great Pyramid is a pump system.
Okay.
Which irrigates
right
the lands.
So okay, interesting.
And it does this on a. There's no maintenance. No one has to go do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's done by nature.
Because isn't there a entrance in the Great Pyramid when you go down that actually is filled with water, or am I wrong?
No, there isn't. But there's the entrance takes you into the subterranean chamber, and then in the subterranean chamber there's a shaft that leads down into the earth.
Okay. Huh. I wonder where.
There's no water in the pyramid.
Yeah, where did I pull that from? I could have sworn I got too much information. Information overload, huh? But that makes sense. I mean, how about the isn't there a gold cap that supposedly
that's a myth that's gone throughout the ages of a gold cap. But when you go back into history, it's actually, I think it was like a type of beryllium that was stated, which is a mixture of copper and gold.
Okay, because I believe Dr. Zahid Hawass spoke of that not long ago. Well, long ago, maybe a decade ago. He really,
There's,
yeah,
mind you, that's a myth. There's no facts to that.
really.
That is just a myth. Now, when you take into
Huh.
the pyramid's measurements, the Great Pyramid being 481 feet tall with the capstone. Without the capstone, it's 454 feet tall. That means you have a capstone that's 26 feet tall and a base of approximately 31 feet square. That's a big, big capstone to
Yes, it is.
just up and disappear.
Hmm. Well, I mean, if it's created for a certain purpose, I could see it being taken away. But yeah, who knows? I mean, it's all
It could
conjecture,
very
really.
well be that's what's in the Hall of Records.
Hmm.
And that will,
Wouldn't that be interesting? Yeah, that's an interesting take on it.
well, that was one of the things I did think, or the direction on how to construct it. Because as I said, it would be 26 feet tall by a base of 31 foot square.
And if that was possible, I mean, say that's what was in the Hall of Records, and this capstone was able to be built. Any ideas what it would actually do? I mean, we did talk about irrigation and stuff like that, but any ideas like would it power up? Would it?
Is power up? That's a strange terminology because it can be used in very many ways.
Right, energy. Yeah.
Through the book that John Doe Saville produced of Decoding the Pyramids, it's shown in there that strangely there was a hole in the ozone, right?
Right.
When it shifted over top of the pyramid, it repaired itself.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
with a capstone, it could give us a better climate control system for the year.
Okay. But you know what? Yeah, somebody in chat did. Dave Plouffe in chat says, I remember a water basin in the pyramid myself and a coffin within it. I do remember that.
Coffin within it?
Yes.
Water basin?
Yes.
In the Great Pyramid?
Yep. I believe they.
Not the Great Pyramid, not to my anything I've
Well,
ever read.
oh boy, I tell you, I'm going to look search for that again because I could have
Could be a
sworn.
different pyramid.
Yeah. Could have sworn it was the Giza pyramid itself, but
There's only one sarcophagus in the Great Pyramid that's ever been found,
uh,
and that's the one that's in the King's Chamber that
okay.
cannot be moved out of it without being broken.
Well, I'll take your word for it. You've researched a lot more than I have, so there you go. But wow. So the Hall of Records, 13 miles off the Giza pyramid itself.
Oh
Speaking
no, it's not in South America at all. I mean, sorry, it's not in North America. Or it's
right.
not in Africa at all.
Okay. Well, somebody mentioned that mentioned South America in chat. Possibly.
Well, as again, we have from Casey that the three areas located, he speculated were Giza, and one was in the Yucatan Peninsula area.
Okay.
So Yucatan Peninsula could lead you somewhere into South America or into North America, actually, if you want to look at it that way. He didn't give you an exact location when he stated that.
Right. Wow. Let's see. I'm just going over chat here.
Again, I followed more of Toth's mythology than I did Casey's to get the answer I found.
Okay.
In his directions on how to find
the
Hall of Records, and he tells you, and he says at the end he says, "Dig ye, and you will find the records before man became."
Well, how about Stonehenge?
So buried, yes, because he's telling you to dig. So it's buried. It's hidden.
Okay.
In other words.
Any idea on the Sphinx, which surrounds that, and anything dealing with the Sphinx that plays into this has a role in this too, or is it just?
As in The Hollow Records, or as in?
As in anything, the Sacred Geometry, Codex
Oh yes, it's
13.
it's part of it's in part of the astronomy.
Okay.
It's part of the explanation.
And what role did that play in this?
Well, Orion, the belt stars of Orion,
Mm-hmm.
point to the Sirius star system. Now Orion is the hunter, and the hunter has a dog, a hunting dog, which is the Sirius star system.
Right.
So the Sphinx, even though now it has the head of a human, when you look at the body, it's clearly not a lion. Clearly not a lion. So what was it? There's the Anubis theory that it was a jackal, which in the Orion constellation, having a hunting dog would pretty well make sense.
Okay. Huh. That's the first time I
So
heard
if
of
you
that.
have
Okay.
three belt stars lined up with the pyramids,
Mm-hmm.
now they do. This is a big discussion. Everybody wants to know, do they align to Orion or not? Do they align somewhere else?
Right.
If you take the metric ton calculation from each of the three pyramids, the Great Pyramid, which is Cheops or Khufu, the next pyramid's Khafre, and the smaller one is Menkaure. So if you take their metric tons, each and every one of them, and you lay the numbers out straight from their Great Pyramid, you will get 25922.19035, I believe it is, which is the Orion calculation.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very strange that
No,
that number is sitting there.
Yeah,
Who did that?
interesting, huh? You know, I got to throw this out there too. David Winter in the chat says, he says, Sitchin took a little license in his interpretations, but they are a good base to work with. My studies in temple alignments show a catastrophe, crustal movement changed the alignments, and the humans had to realign the temples to today's astronomical placements. Any truth to that? Do you believe that, JD?
I've researched Sitchin's work for quite a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I understood where he went wrong in his assertions.
Okay.
I've corrected them. They'll be out on Monday in the article being presented, and also on Leonard's radio show.
Okay. Yeah, hey.
Now, Mr. Sitchin based his cuneiform reading on his ability to read the steles,
Mm-hmm.
which, of course, that was 40 to 50 years ago.
Okay.
Astronomy has updated quite a bit since then.
Yeah.
So you can actually read the steles for what they're stating. And Mr. Sitchin got quite a bit wrong.
Yeah.
Didn't get it all wrong. No, he didn't get it all wrong. So
Right.
what was David, I believe, what he stated was it was a good platform to work from?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Great platform to work from. He did get some right.
Interesting. How about before we do got about 10 minutes here, so maybe another 5 minutes we'll talk a little bit. I'm curious about Stonehenge too. How does that play a part in all of this?
Stonehenge is a great monument to look at.
Yes.
One thing I really haven't got into with explaining yet, Dino, is our last commenter stated that they realigned the monuments.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to let him know that my research in the future is going to show that these monuments are laid out on today's geocoordinates.
Okay.
And they explain numbers that should not be there, but they're there. So it's not an accident. The coordinates to Stonehenge, the latitude and the longitude. The latitude gives you the south and the north degree of the Great Pyramid. It gives you 5143, and it also gives you 5184, which are the side slopes of the Great Pyramid. Exactly. Now
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, definitely.
that's
Yeah.
the longitude. Sorry, the latitude gives you the mean distance between the Earth and the Sun.
Okay. Hmm.
Yes. How could that be? That can't be an accident when you have both of them doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Huffington Horse, believe it's the latitude and it's 5143. Again, the side slope measurement of the Great Pyramid. One thing I'll throw it right now for one I have not mentioned before,
Okay.
except for to some very close people
Well, thank
who've
you.
discussed this with me.
Hmm.
The longitude and latitude of Angkor Wat is precisely 13 latitude and 103 longitude. Codex 13.
Wow. And that is where?
Angkor Wat is in Cambodia,
Cambodia.
Indonesia.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
Now, when we talk about sacred geometry and the measurements of sacred geometry and the higher numbers of metric, you'll realize that from the Great Pyramid to Stonehenge is 3,600 kilometers, which is showing you 360. Circle
Yeah.
geometry. And from the center of Stonehenge to Easter Island is exactly 13,500 kilometers. Now, Lalibela in Ethiopia has 13 sacred stone churches that are chiseled into the earth of stone. They portray the science of light. Across the ocean in South America, we have the 13 sacred huts of Chanquillo that also portray the secret of light. They are separated by a distance of 13,184 kilometers. Now that's
uh,
13,184. So you get the 13 on the first one, and then 1 plus 8 plus 4 is 13 again. Interestingly, when you look at a flat map, Lalibela sits at 12 degrees, and Chanquillo sits at around 9 degrees. So they're not exactly across from each other. However, when you take into the tilt of the Earth, they're exactly across from each other.
interesting.
So how were these
So,
done in our academics said this is an accident. Now, when you look at Serpent Mount of Ohio, it's
yes.
exactly 1,348 feet long and at its highest level, 1 meter. It sits on the edge of an impact crater. Its head is actually overlooking this impact crater.
Mm-hmm.
Teotihuacan, Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
sits on 13 kilometers of land. The Avenue of the Dead is 1.3 miles long and 131 feet wide. In a volcanic area where volcanic lava actually touched the Pyramid of the Moon. Stonehenge sits exactly at the edge of the ice shield. The Great Pyramid is flooded up and down by the Nile, as is Angkor Wat, built on a marsh that floods continually but does not fall apart. They've given us the clues. We are impacted by asteroids, which causes global flooding. Sacsayhuaman is built in an earthquake zone that does not fall apart, explaining that we go through disastrous earthquakes at the same time. These monuments are laid out in a codex to explain this cycle.
Hmm.
And it's also given in scripture that tells you this.
Wow.
Mostly given in Revelation, but then you have the story of Moses of brimstone and fire, but there's also the story of Lot of brimstone and fire in there. And then you have the story of Noah and his cycle of deluge flooding.
Yeah. Boy, we can go on talking all night long, can't we, GD? You know,
It's an interesting subject.
well,
It really
yeah.
is because as we've said, we've talked about that it
Yeah.
is cataloged by the professionals. It's just been missed
Yeah.
or hidden.
Exactly. And yeah, and we're coming up to the top of the hour, so I want to get a couple things out of the way here before we end this and stuff. You will be on with Leonard O'Neill on Monday, you said?
Yes, Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, and the topic is Nephilim.
There you go, and he's
a missing link.
Awesome! I can't wait to hear that. So totally.
Well, the article is a very long article for any of those listeners out there, but it's packed full of scientific proof.
Yeah,
and it's quite an eye opener. So I'm told.
Cool. So I would
it's a jump ahead in time of explanations.
Uh-huh.
I really didn't want to explain this until I got finished explaining the various different monuments I've been able to understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been asked to by many people who I've talked with about it over the past years, and since I've written the article, my admins who have read it would like it to be present. So I've decided to bring it out now.
Excellent. Yeah, no, it sounds good. I can't wait to listen. And I would tell everybody to go over to Orion Rising Facebook group or page. Leonard O'Neill just started it, and really good guy. He's got the page Ancient Aliens Worldwide. So give him a join there for his group. He's posting everywhere, and me and Leo have been talking a lot here. So Orion Rising, and you will be on there on Monday, and that will be very cool. It'll be totally different type of show than we did here. And again, I hope you enjoyed talking with me. We went back and forth a little bit. I kind of like doing shows that way. And this was actually a really awesome show, JD. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me about it.
Well, it's been an honor for me, Dino. I appreciate the interest in it. It's something I believe that the children of tomorrow will be able to use to fix or help the planet if we can't do it sooner.
I hope so. And I would suggest for everybody to go over to his website, which is www.ancientagenda.com. Pretty simple. His Facebook group is also Ancient Agenda, so you can find him there too. And he posts everything there and all that good stuff and everything else. So we got 3 minutes here, JD, so I am actually going to let you go. I do appreciate it again. Hopefully we'll talk again. I will be following you. I'll be listening on Monday. And it was an awesome interview, man. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for everything, Leonard. I appreciate. Leonard. Thank you for everything, Dino, and
no problem.
I appreciate the conversation we had tonight. Thank you to all the listeners who tuned in.
Yes, thank you.
And I hope we brought something to your table that you can work with.
Heck yeah, man. It was awesome, and I do appreciate it. So until next time, JD, I'll talk to you then, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye, JD. Okay, there you go, man. That's JD Jeffrey, Ancient Agenda Facebook group, www.ancientagenda.com. Go check it out. A lot of deep stuff there. So you gotta have an open mind. Really get into the sacred geometry and all that, the number stuff and all that. So this made a really, really good interview. So I really, really enjoyed it. And another thing I would tell you is definitely go to Paranormal Into the Night Facebook group, because it's a great group. We post everything there. We have fun. Man, I used to have paranormal trivia nights. That may be in the future too. I do a lot of stuff on the site. So go ahead and do that. Go to the Paranormal UK Radio Network, okay, which is www.paranormalukradio.network.com. They air me in Europe pretty much, and anywhere across the globe too. Every Wednesday night, 8 to 10 Eastern Time, Greenwich Mean Time. So there you go. But anyways, hopefully all of you guys enjoyed this show, and I am going to end it now. Man, did that go by quick, 2 hours. As always, peace and love to everybody out there, and enjoy the paranormal.